All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a real cinematic phenomenon. In a year that was supposed to be all about big sequels and action epics, this quiet little romantic drama called Saiyaara basically came out of nowhere and just took everyone by surprise.
And when I say it took people by surprise, I mean, look at this number. The film pulled in a staggering 404 crore rupees at the worldwide box office. That's an absolutely massive figure for any movie, let alone for this one, for reasons we're about to get into.
So, yeah, that leads us right to the big question, right? How on earth did this happen? How did a film starring two actors nobody had ever seen before, in a genre that, let's be honest, a lot of people thought was kind of on the back burner, become one of the biggest hits of the year?
Okay, so let's break it all down. First, we'll talk about why this film was such a shock to the system. Then, we'll get into the heart of the story and the specific formula they used to make it a hit. After that, we'll look at the jaw-dropping numbers and ask, what does this all mean for the future of movie romance?
All right, first things first. For anyone who missed it, what exactly is Saiyaara?
Well, it's a musical romance from director Mohit Suri, a guy who's earned the nickname the Master of Heartbreak for a reason. And it stars two total newcomers, Ahan Pandey and Aneet Pada. And that part, the fact that they're brand new, is super important. We'll get back to that. At its core, like any great romance, the film's power comes from a really compelling story. It's about two people who are pretty broken, who kind of find the missing pieces of themselves in each other.
The dynamic between the leads is just fascinating. You've got Krish, this intense, aggressive musician who's channeling all his past trauma into his art. And then you have Vani, a quiet poet who's completely shut down after being abandoned. You can almost see them as two broken halves of the same soul, right? He's all noise, she's all silence. And somehow they balance each other out.
So their story really unfolds in three key stages. First, they meet, they connect through their art, and they start to heal each other's wounds. But then, right when they find their footing, tragedy hits. Vani gets this devastating diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's. And that sets up this incredible emotional conflict. It's a race against time, a battle against fading memory, where music becomes the only thing that might be able to pull them through.
Okay, so that's the story. It's powerful stuff. But a great plot doesn't automatically mean a blockbuster hit. So how did they do it? What was the secret sauce here? Let's break down the formula.
Look, a hit like this doesn't just happen by accident. It was this perfect storm, really. You had the director's signature emotional touch, really authentic casting, a soundtrack that was an absolute sensation, and a marketing plan that was, frankly, kind of genius.
And that casting? It was absolutely crucial. The director, Mohit Suri, he was dead set on finding these authentic, natural faces. He actually said he specifically wanted lead actors who hadn't done anything cosmetically. He wanted real, raw, relatable people, and that authenticity was key.
And then, the music. I mean, you really can't talk about this movie without talking about the soundtrack. It wasn't just some background noise, it was the film's beating heart. They brought in multiple composers, top-tier singers for 7 original songs, and that title track, Saiyaara, it wasn't just a hit song, it was a full-blown cultural moment. But here is maybe the boldest move of all, the marketing. The studio decided the two new lead actors would do zero promotion. Nothing. No interviews, no TV spots. They wanted you to walk into that theater and meet Krish and Vani for the very first time on the big screen. It was a huge gamble, a strategy of pure mystery, and wow, did it pay off.
So all that strategy, that formula, did it work? Oh, you better believe it. The results weren't just good, they were absolutely historic. Let's get into the numbers.
Okay, look at this. This is the really mind-blowing part. The film was made for about 50 crore rupees, a decent budget, but not huge. To then go on and make over 400 crore? That's more than an 8x return. It's just a phenomenal success by any measure.
And this wasn't some slow build-up.
It happened fast. It had the biggest opening day ever for a Hindi film with a new lead. It soared past 100 crore worldwide in its opening weekend, and by day 9, it had already crossed the 300 crore mark. This thing wasn't a slow burn, you guys. It was an absolute rocket ship.
And just to give you some context, Saiyaara ended up as the second highest grossing Indian film of the year. So get this, it went head-to-head with these huge established franchises like Houseful 5 and Raid 2, movies with massive stars and built-in audiences, and it came out on top.
And, it wasn't just a commercial juggernaut. Critics loved it too. It landed a 79% fresh rating over on Rotten Tomatoes. They were praising the performances, the direction, the music. It proved the film had real heart and wasn't just a fluke.
Okay, so we've got the numbers, we've got the story, but what does it all mean? Beyond the box office, what's the real takeaway from a film like Saiyaara?
I think this quote from India Today really just nails it. They pointed out that, hey, the story might feel a little familiar, but it didn't matter. The film had so much sincerity. It was a movie where, as they put it, the flaws are visible, but so is the heart. And that heart is what audiences connected with.
So at the end of the day, what Saiyaara really proves is something pretty fundamental, isn't it? It's a reminder that even in an age of non-stop action, the classic, timeless formula, a great story, honest performances, and music that gives you goosebumps can still create absolute magic.
Which brings us to the big, final question, and it's a fascinating one. In an industry so focused on spectacle and sequels, could a film like Saiyaara actually be a sign that the big screen romance is finally ready for a major comeback? I guess only time will tell. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.